Hi, Mario. Can you help me prepare some things for the next month?
Okay, sure. What can I help you with?
I need to visit the customer in Germany. It's important.
What can I do to help?
Can you send an email to the customer? Ask them when I can visit them next week. Please do this fast. It's a priority and very urgent.
Right, I'll do it today.
Thanks. This next task is also important. Can you invite everyone to the next team meeting?
Yes, I will.
But first, you need to book a meeting room. After that, please send everyone an email about it.
Yes, of course.
And finally, can you write a short report about our new project? I have to give a presentation to our managers next month. Please do it when you have time, sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks. It's not too urgent.
Sure, no problem. I can do it this week.
There is no hurry. Take your time.
Did you go to the sports afternoon last Friday, Tom? I couldn't go.
Yes, we had a great afternoon. We all did a new sport. I had some horse riding lessons.
Really? What did the others do?
Well, Sam was happy. There's a dry ski slope there, so he went skiing.
Really? Did Jane do the same thing?
She didn't want to. She played volleyball with some other people. She was tired after the game.
What about Paul and Susan?
Well, Paul wanted to try basketball, but they don't do that on Fridays, so he did golf. And Susan did very well. She played in a football team and got 2 goals.
Great! Did anyone play tennis?
Nobody did that. Anne didn't want to do anything, but she had to play something. So she had a game of table tennis.
Did you like that?
Yes, I think so.
Well, I hope I can go next time.
Hi, Alex. Where's Mum?
She's gone out.
Has she? Where's she gone?
I don't know, actually. She just left a note. I expect she's gone to Grandad's.
But Grandad's gone to his club today. He always goes on Tuesdays.
Oh, yes, you're right. I don't know where she is then.
Oh, never mind. What's for supper then?
Boring soup and boring salad.
Oh, no. I could make something more interesting.
That's a good idea. But you're an awful cook, Rose. And anyway, there's nothing else in the fridge.
Let's eat out then.
We can't. I haven't got any money.
Well, I have.
Great! Let's go to the Pizza Palace.
I'm not that rich. Be reasonable. The prices at Pizza Palace are much higher than anywhere else. Why don't we go to McGregor's?
McGregor's? I'd rather have soup and salad at home.
Food's not that bad there. But they don't have any music.
Well, they do, but it's really awful.
They have good music at Classic Express, though, don't they?
Well, sometimes they have terrible classical stuff, but you can ask them to change the CD for some cool rock music.
Oh, I've never thought of doing that. That's a good idea.
Shall we go there then? What's the food like? I've been there a few times, but only for a coffee.
Well, you'd like it. You get really huge plates of food. There would even be enough for you. I'm surprised you haven't noticed.
Well, I haven't.
Anyway, I'm hungry now. Are we going or aren't we?
Sure, let's go by bike.
Oh, you're crazy, Alex. It's pouring with rain out there.
OK. How about a taxi?
Yes, Alex, we could take a taxi, but then I wouldn't have enough money for the meal. I'm going on foot, and you're coming with me.
All right. Sisters.
With us today is the actor Mikey Standish. Mikey, with your career on the up, do you want to be the next Leonardo DiCaprio?
I don't really try to be anyone else. I know that's what is said about me, and it upsets me because I'm just trying to experience as many different types and styles of acting as I can. So it's not fair. I've managed to play a wide range of roles. The cinema industry usually wants to see you doing the same thing all the time. But I prefer to stretch myself.
In your latest film, The Waterfall, you play Simon, a young man very much like yourself.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be easy because it's closer to me. I'd been in full-time education for 20 years, like Simon has. Simon's middle class, I'm middle class, etc., etc. So I understood where the guy was coming from. But actually, that made it kind of frightening because if you're not careful, there's no character to hide behind, if you know what I mean. But doing it has certainly made me into a better actor.
Are there any character types that you would prefer not to play?
Yeah. I once played this man who was a real waste of time. We've seen that so often. The unworthy, totally uninteresting person who then turns out to have the answer to everything. I want no part in that. I don't mind continuing to play the romantic lead, but the character must develop in a way that's believable.
How old were you when you decided that acting was something that you wanted to do?
I applied for drama college before I decided that acting was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I was offered a film when I was 16, and I did it. I got that part just out of the blue with a French director, and then I didn't act for 2 years. I worked in a bakery and tried to get on at school, but I wasn't doing too well. So it was either leave school and stay in the bakery, which was out of the question really, or try drama school because I'd done this one film and I might get in.
And what would you tell the kids who are interested or thinking about acting as a career?
I think drama school is the best thing. It's the environment where you realise whether you want to do it or not. You're competitive all the time in the real world, and this competitive element can make you carry on, though the job might be something you're not suited to, or something that you maybe don't even like. But the competition can keep you going, and that's not good. It's not healthy.
How do you cope with being a celebrity?
I'm lucky. I've been doing this work for 7 years now, so it's not like happened overnight. Over the last few years, I've been getting recognised on the street more and more often as the press coverage has increased, but I can handle it okay. Had it been like, bang, suddenly you're a star and your life's not your own anymore, who knows, I might not have coped so well.
So, what's your next movie?
I'll do something I have always wanted to do, which is a sci-fi movie. It's not starting till next year, and I've had some calls from a director asking if I could fit in another movie in the meantime. It was a very tempting offer, which would have involved me in actually producing the script as well. But the truth is that I've done 5 films without much of a break, so I'm definitely in need of a bit of time off. As from tomorrow, actually.
Right. Mikey Standish, thank you, and I hope you enjoy your break.
Tonight we're talking to mapmaker Sally Gordon and marine biologist Mark Tompkins about making maps of the ocean floor. Sally, how did you get started on your career? Tell us about your first expedition.
As a recent graduate, I was fortunate to receive a full-paid internship aboard an exploration vessel to participate in sonar mapping. I was delighted to be selected, but I was extremely nervous about living at sea for 3 weeks. Fortunately, everyone was really friendly and helpful to me as the new kid on board. On my very first mapping expedition, we collected some data which really changed the way that they thought about geology in that area, and from then on I was completely hooked and inspired by the thought of repeating the success. Now a lot of my shipmates call me the Mapping Queen.
Mark, how far have we progressed in terms of researching the ocean floor?
Well, here's a troubling fact. Most of us know more about planets than we do about the depths of the ocean. And yet, with volcanoes, deep valleys, mountain peaks, and vast plains, the landscape of the ocean floor is as varied and magnificent as it is on the surface of some astronomical body. 95% of the ocean floor remains unexplored, which is nothing compared to how small a part of space we have reached, of course. But mapping the ocean floor is very technologically challenging, and is progressing much more slowly than space exploration.
Sally, I know you were wanting to make a point about public attitudes towards deep-sea exploration.
Yes, thanks. I do think it's challenging to get the public engaged about deep-sea exploration. I think you can get people excited about some parts of marine science. People love to see footage of coral reefs, for example. These are bright, well-lit portions of the ocean, but really just its skin. But the depths are so far removed from people physically, so it's a case of out of sight and out of mind, I suppose, which is a shame and so unnecessary.
Here's a question for both of you. Where does the funding for these projects come from?
The government funding has tended to dry up in recent years, and a lot of corporations have really taken up some of the slack. Our project is financed by A1-C Insurance. It's a very interesting model for ocean science because it's like, instead of sponsoring a football team, you're sponsoring a very important scientific mission that really can make a difference. And people notice that.
It's an interesting development. I think corporates are starting to see the opportunity here for getting massive brand exposure in an area that there aren't too many competitors. And I don't think a government-funded project could have worked at the speed that we've been working at.
There are a lot of mineral resources under the sea. Mark, aren't some nations, particularly island nations, rushing in to exploit this?
Some are. Though, of course, without knowing the shape of the ocean floor, we'll never realize the economic viability of these resources. Some island nations have been trying to extend their territorial sea claims further under one interpretation of maritime law. I think who owns these resources is a huge issue, and particularly who might be responsible for any damage done to the ocean if these resources are mined. Who would be liable?
With all the new technology, our knowledge of the oceans is increasing. Where do you both see this leading?
More awareness leads to more engagement and, I hope, more responsibility. People would be seeing landscapes everywhere, as gorgeous as the Himalayas or the Grand Canyon, and they'd be seeing them for the first time because these are places that no human had ever seen before. We've already witnessed this with photos of galaxies coming back from the latest space probes.
I think the only reason we haven't seen these places is we haven't had the will to go find them. It'll make people think before they're careless about pollution or eating seafood unsustainably, because they'd really know how beautiful the ocean is, and that it's not just a big dumping ground. It's our planet, not some distant galaxy we're talking about here after all.
Today, we have the celebrated artist Bridget Riley in the studio. Bridget, how does such a hard-working painter of your fame relax? What do you like to do when you have the time to go on holiday?
I don't go on holidays just to relax. I would find lying on a beach hot, uncomfortable and pretty unendurable. The sort of holiday I take is part and parcel of my work as a painter. Working in a studio is the heart of the matter, as with any artist, but going out and looking has been vitally important to me for as long as I can remember.
Is it true then that your mother had a strong influence on you artistically when you were young?
Yes, indeed. I was first encouraged to look by my mother. We were in Cornwall during the war, which was, in itself, a kind of wonderful holiday. And she used to take my sister and me on long walks, pointing things out. Look at the shape of the cloud. The lovely thing about walking through the country is that nothing looks the same twice. If you walk with the sun behind you, the colours are saturated. The sky is solid blue, the sea resplendent in turquoises, greens, even violets. And along the paths, tamarisks, gorse and stony lichen are like a moving frieze of pinks, greens and yellows. But walking along the same path into the sun, the colours are virtually bleached out, almost black and white.
I see. What was it like growing up in the 40s and 50s?
In post-war Britain, with rationing, clothes coupons and £35 a year travel allowance, people didn't travel a great deal. My first trip abroad was in the 1950s, to Paris. We stayed at the Hotel Louisiana, a run-down place in the Rue de Seine.
What was your trip to Paris like? What did you do there?
We looked at exhibitions, read books. Until then, there were very few books on modern art. I simply devoured John Rawls' books on Impressionism and Post-Impressionism, Roger Shattuck's The Banquet Years, about Paris at the beginning of the century, and documents of modern art. But most of all, we argued furiously over dinner about what we had seen. I vividly remember seeing Manet's Olympia and Le Déjeuner sur l'herbe at the Jeu de Paume. Staggering. And all those Monets. Oh, it was a feast, and I just couldn't get enough of it.
Do you still visit museums and galleries often? Do they influence and inspire you?
For me, visiting museums is a special holiday, a journey in time through which one discovers partners in imagination and whole new areas of creative adventure. It is extraordinary how, by looking at works of art, remote though they might be, one finds a way through to the unique character of a place, a culture, even under a guise.
And you've been to Egypt recently, haven't you?
Yes, and I went in the spring, but it wasn't the first time I'd been there. On my first visit to Egypt, I travelled with my sister and the art historian Robert Kudielka. Of course, we saw all the great monuments, Saqqara, El Giza, Karnak and Luxor. But I couldn't help noticing how the strips of vegetation on each side of the Nile stood out against the white escarpment of the desert. It was like the beads and bands of their ancient jewellery. The desert became a stupendous stage for their ancient civilization. Suddenly I saw the role those reds, blacks, blues, turquoises and whites played in ancient Egypt's everyday equipment. The wall hangings, illuminations, sarcophagi, they were the colours to celebrate life and well-being, the gifts of sunshine. Although I later recreated those colours in my paintings, I never deliberately searched for material that may be useful to me in the studio. It would spoil the very sensation that I take back. Sometimes the experience has proved so powerful that it was, and still is, practically inaccessible.
Bridget, thank you very much. It's been fascinating talking to you.